Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pull Focus, the cinema-based entertainment podcast where three freelancers come together to hash it out. My name is Mike, and as usual, I am joined by my two brothers in crime. To my right, cinematographer and video specialist, Mr. Bert Estrada. Bert, what's up, man? How you doing?
I think you're freaky, and I like you a lot.
And to my left, actor, producer, educator, Mr. Robert Andrus. Andrus.
Hello. To all of you.
Big and small, near and far. Oh my God, you guys! It's a pleasure to have you in the studio again. It's been a while since I've seen you guys in here. What's been going on? What's up? How you guys doing?
Bert?
Oh, you know, living the dream. Every day's an adventure.
Excellent.
Hey, it's always an adventure.
Yes. I'm naked.
We all are. Well, I mean, I'm wearing pants, but from naked from the waist up. Andrus, how about you? How are things going?
We might have to with this heat.
We're all
For
naked
real.
under our clothes.
That's a good call.
So there's that.
Would you guys be freaked out if I was naked?
Not really. I'd just
Okay.
be happy that it's an audio podcast, not a video podcast.
I think everybody would be happy
Thank
about
you.
that.
Thank you.
Everybody.
I got sexy back.
No, I believe you. I believe you. I'm just saying, I think everybody would be happy about that.
Crazy.
I'm not happy about these movies.
Some people might be turned on.
Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it for sure. Yeah, there's something for everybody. But Andrus, you were saying you've been pretty busy the past couple times. However long it's been since we last recorded one of these.
Yeah, it's things are really picking up in the great SLC/Utah market.
Glad to hear it.
So we are rocking and rolling.
Well, good. I'm glad you're getting a balance between being partially insane but really busy. That's always a good.
Insanity is a good way to put it right now.
Okay, so guys, we're going to jump right into this. This is going to be, as we promised, a continuation.
Do you have
of,
it? Do you have a button?
Oh, I do.
You're going to do the button?
I'm going to do the button.
Are we going to do it?
Are you ready?
Ready.
Trial of Trilogy.
So, our ongoing...
Trilogies.
Yeah, right. Trilogies.
In case you guys forgot.
Yeah, exactly. Ongoing project in regards to where we're going to provide you guys information regarding what is the best trilogy in cinematic history. We all know the answer to that question. It's The Godfather. But a bigger question to ask would be, who's the runner-up? Who's a contender for, if Godfather never existed? Who or what trilogy would be the best one? And today we're going to speak about the first trilogy that we chose out of the lineup. The one that I chose, the Back to the Future trilogy. So here we go.
So ridiculous.
Yeah!
And we don't see his face until now.
That's right. Nice sunglasses.
Marty!
Dude. Goes right into the third one. Thompson, Bibb. Lead poisoning. Dude, such a soundtrack, man.
Iconic.
Yeah. To say the least.
I really wanted to have sex with his mom. I think she's really
She's still around, Bert.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I saw she's on a TV show.
She's been on a TV show, and she's actually done a movie here recently.
Thompson?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. Ridiculous. Aww. Did they even have blue screen back then?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, of course.
They just fucked it up on that.
How'd you see the invisible hands?
Oh, yeah.
Out of a DeLorean? I don't know, Marty. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. That was awful. You're welcome.
I love that impression.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88. Roads? Where we're going, we don't need. road.
I can't tell you how many times I've quoted that.
For real. And here he was. Holy shit, you guys. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. We are talking of one of the most iconic movie franchises in the history of cinema. We really are. We're talking about a package that delivered humor, action, adventure, incredible music and scores, and that kind of thing. So what we're going to do for our lovely audience is we're going to dissect this whole trilogy. It's a lot of information to get through. And the first thing we're going to hit is Back to the Future, the original, the one that started everything, the one that put
The groundbreaker.
the groundbreaker, for
Pre-Elizabeth
sure.
Shue.
Exactly, pre-Elizabeth Shue, pre-Michael J. Fox in a sense, right? Because he didn't get
Correct.
the job at first. So
Not at first.
let's talk about that. I mean, it was Back to the Future, the first movie in the series. Why is it a good movie for people to know? Why is it a good movie for people to see even today?
Wow.
Big question, I know.
Wow.
I don't know if I agree.
Why not?
Here's the thing.
Uh-oh.
Okay, as a child, and even now as an adult,
Here's the thing. I take movies too seriously.
I do.
Too.
I do. I mean,
Well,
it
this
doesn't.
has plenty of cheese in it. So,
Well, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay.
But the thing, yes, it's iconic and everybody watches it and has seen it. And that's one of the reasons that I guess I had a tough time with the trilogy. I'm tired of it.
You're tired
Okay.
of it? You've seen it too much, huh?
Yeah. And
Do you think that's something that a lot of people deal with when it comes to like movies like this? I mean, it's epic. We can't argue that it isn't like an epic franchise, but it has been around the ringer a couple times.
and the thing is that I think that people will say, no, I watch it and I enjoy it
Yeah.
while they're vacuum cleaning. Or while they're like doing their taxes.
I kind of agree with you a little
yeah,
bit. Even
so-
though this one was my choice, I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, I mean it was great when it came out.
For sure.
I'm even gonna jump ahead. Back to the Future, the first one is my favorite one because it was something that you hadn't seen.
Correct.
It was funny.
Yep.
It was cool. Really, I mean, I wasn't a big TV watcher when I was a kid, so I didn't
Yeah.
know Michael J. Fox or Christopher Lloyd from Taxi and from the whatever stupid TV show.
Family Ties.
Family Ties. In fact, I thought Family Ties was kind of boring. But when I saw this movie, it
You're
was
like, oh, he can act.
awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome. And not only that, but I thought, these dudes are
well, the concept,
Cool.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
cool.
I think they did a really great job, especially when it did come out, as far as being relevant then.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was very creative.
Yeah,
It's
everything
creative
made
is
sense.
the
Yeah.
best term. Now that's the thing is, the first one was very creative, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
The second and third one at the time just adds to the mythos of Back to the Future
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
But now I'm past it, and so like okay, here's
Do you
not-
want a remake?
no. and that's what pisses me
No,
off.
and I,
Maybe
and
it's
I,
not that much
pisses me off.
I
faster,
understand
huh?
this.
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
When we ask, is it better than The Godfather? Every time I've watched the Godfather trilogy, I've always found something new.
Okay.
When I watched Back to the Future, I fight sleeping.
Really? So
And-
you have to like, pinprick your arm or something in order to stay
and
awake
it's
while you're
not
watching.
because
It's
I
not
don't
because it's a bad
enjoy
film.
it.
You've
Yeah,
just
it's
seen
a
it
bad
before.
film. Yeah, exactly. I just think that it's done.
See, I had a bit of a problem with that too because I had to separate myself from the genre of what we're dealing with. I mean, you can't. I mean, that's the reason as to why we introduced the Godfather trilogy first because that was what we agreed upon is the best trilogy out there. But when I was able to step outside of that a little bit and kind of understand where this movie was coming from, I mean, given the market at the time, given the fact that it was, a very original idea, which are few and far between, especially
Yeah.
in movies and everything. That's why I put it up to the council or whatever, because I think it is a contender for being like one of the best, maybe not better than The Godfather, but definitely one of the best trilogies ever made because it has all these interesting parts that are just masterclasses in how you make a good movie, regardless of the genre.
And I would
Okay.
agree as far as trilogies are concerned, and like if we take true trilogies, put them, stack them, and stuff, that it is one that belongs in the top 10, top 20.
Easy.
I
Top
felt-
5, come on.
I don't know about that,
right.
and the reason I say that is because the wonder that going back to The Godfather, every time it's wonder,
Yeah.
oh man, that was cool. Oh, I didn't notice that before.
Yeah.
With this one, I never felt that again. You know, like, and even
So
though
that first moment, then you're just wondering why you're watching it again.
exactly,
Or
and to be honest,
for nostalgia's sake, it's on and you watch it.
Nostalgia
Or
doesn't work on Bert though. He's not. I mean, like you're not.
and that's true.
I understand that.
And
But also,
I'm a sucker for it. honestly.
when I go,
As am I.
Even if I try to get back into like, when I was whatever, you know,
Yeah.
like 11, 12, whatever.
Well, I saw this movie when I was 10.
Yeah, well, I was older than that then.
Right.
I was probably closer to getting into like adulthood at this point.
Okay,
so,
okay.
so at first when you watch the second and third one, you go like, "Oh, it's awesome," you know. But then you realize that it's just a repetition of the first one. You know, it's just that creatively they set the setting differently.
Okay.
The setting, the actual set. I mean, you know, it's not that the story itself has evolved much.
I disagree. I think the first film was a way in which
Wrong.
they right, of course. I think the first film was a way in which they established this creative idea, and then once you have that brand, for lack of a better term, I hate using that term, but it's true. You have two other occurrences where they take the same idea but put an original spin on it.
Well,
Sequels and trilogies don't do that anymore.
I don't think they did
it.
it. Well, I think that this is a perfect example of that. Why it doesn't happen is because of this. Because
Okay, so you think Back to the Future trilogy established this whole market terminology that we have?
I think so because it was so successful.
Really? Okay.
And here's why.
Well, if it's
Because
making money, I mean,
when
that's
you
a
read
good
a
point.
book or when you
Well, and they
watch a movie,
merchandised the hell
For
out
real,
of
yeah,
it.
for
They
real.
really did.
that's
They
true.
marketed that like to the nth degree for sure.
and then like I always think of when you read a book or watch a movie, is you say in this case, what happened to Marty?
Okay.
What changed Marty?
Oh, a lot changed.
No.
You don't think it changed at all?
No,
do you?
not nothing. I mean,
Come
you
on,
know,
dude.
like,
Come on.
like other than the stupid, obvious things, like, oh, he got the gambling book.
Yeah.
that was bad. You
Yeah.
messed with time. Oh, you know, you should love the things you have. Okay,
Yeah.
that happened. You know, like
And
nothing-
you didn't see the progression of the main character throughout
Not
three
at all.
films? Oh,
Not at all.
dude, come
Not
on.
at all.
I totally disagree.
no, like
I totally disagree.
I don't think he changes. At
I think
all.
they might have hit you a little bit hard in the face when it came to the third movie because it's like he can be called a chicken now, and he doesn't like. Oh,
Yeah, but that's not again. That's a new thing that they introduced in the third movie, or kind of hints in the second one.
Hmm.
But the fact is that every time they would use a gimmick as opposed to a plot point.
Yeah.
he lost his girlfriend. His parents disappeared. So, and that's what the first one did have. The stakes were way higher in Back to the Future than the other two trilogies. I mean, if you think about it, what are the objectives?
well, is
you know?
change really necessary? I mean, you mentioned in the Godfather trilogy that Michael was a killer since the first
fair,
movie.
but you do see the evolution of a character.
Okay, I knew there's no evolution
There's
here.
Marty's Marty.
Okay,
you know,
so you
if
think
he's the
there's-
main character.
So you're saying there's gimmicks that are introduced like each film, like on Back to the Future 2, Marty's going to have this problem of conscience.
exactly.
Back to the Future 3 is going to have this problem of
And
conscience.
it's
risen.
early in the films. Like
Okay.
they even give it to you early in the film. You know, like he's trying to change his future in the first one.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't even know it inadvertently.
Yeah.
Right.
In the second one, he purposely tries to change his future,
Okay.
which is stupid.
I'll give you that.
And then in the third one, he realizes that like the consequences of the
Of his
future-
actions, yeah.
of his actions.
I think the first one's probably the best out of all three for that reason.
Exactly. And that's why because at first I was going to pick the third one
Yeah.
as my favorite one because it is cool, you know, like as far as the Old West and
Yeah.
and the stuff that him and Doc go through to try and get back into the present
Yeah.
with archaic means. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
They're making like
stuff up.
They're using
Yeah.
like 1800s technology to make an ice cube and shit.
Exactly.
That's
right.
always cool.
And that was cool.
Yeah.
But the innovation of the first one is really high. You know what I mean? As far as like the whole concept of Back to the Future, the whole concept of time continuum and stuff. And so I thought that was pretty cool, but it's just repeated as the second and third.
I don't think
And
it's repeated, though.
And I think it sets the tone as one of the movies that has affected how trilogies are made now.
Okay, going back to your original point. Okay, I can understand where you're coming from. Andrus, I mean, when you come through and you look at these movies and you're looking at these, I mean, what is it more? Is it more of Zemeckis and Spielberg establishing a brand with the first one and just trying to roll the ball down the hill as fast as they can? Or do you think it's like more of like a creative adventure, which every time they have the sequel popping up?
No, I absolutely agree that it had a lot to do with marketing.
Sure.
And how they presented the second and third based on the first.
I think Bert makes a good
success,
point. I mean,
and that's why I'm absolutely agreeing with what Bert
which
said
might
there.
be used towards my argument that this is one of the best trilogies ever made because it's extremely marketable, if I may put that out there.
Well,
But then
sure.
the reaches of creativity though.
You can't say this.
But here's
I'm
the
sorry.
thing.
Go ahead, Andrus.
Here's the thing.
I'm gonna jump over this table. I swear.
I have no idea why they replaced the original Jennifer outside of maybe Elizabeth Shue's popularity for the time frame. We need a bigger star in there in order
Adventures
to
in Babysitting. Good
sure
God.
in order to make it more marketable.
Sure.
Right. Everybody knows that happened.
Yeah.
They don't make it. They don't. I mean, even to the point where.
Well, go into
they
that.
They didn't have to reshoot.
Go into
her
that a little bit
scenes
because
in order to introduce her as the new girlfriend, but they did.
But it isn't just Elizabeth Shue. Like the lead, Michael J. Fox.
Well, that's a totally different story.
That was a different story.
Well,
so Eric Stoltz originally had the role.
Okay.
And for whatever reasons, and I think that it has to do
wasn't
with
funny.
Marketing.
No, he wasn't funny.
He wasn't
Really?
funny, and they wanted to present it as comedy.
And they
It's too
originally
serious.
wanted Michael J. Fox.
They originally wanted him. See,
Michael
I
J.
heard completely different. I thought it was Eric Stoltz with the shoe-in, then like
No.
on some freak
Michael
audition.
J. Fox couldn't do it because of contractual reasons or was in another movie or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And with Eric Stoltz, they casted him and they went
Well,
with
and
it.
Eric and Leah Thompson were really big names together
For real.
Exactly.
for several other films.
Oh,
and
Leah
so-
Thompson. Good God.
So the thing that happens
Some
is
Kind
that
of Wonderful.
he just
gosh.
wasn't funny. And even in Some Kind of Wonderful, he's never been a funny actor.
No,
Yeah.
but he's been a good lead.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's not what.
Right.
but for this thing, you really needed somebody who was great with the facial expressions.
Yeah.
Great with the one-liners. Great. And Stoltz is more of a dramatic actor.
Well, it goes back to what you said about the first film being partly new and like the way in which a character development came out. Michael Jackson, God, not Michael Jackson.
Michael J.
Fox, he's better at playing. Yeah, right. He's better at moonwalking, which should happen in the third film, by the way. But he's better at playing an innocent.
Oh,
did
yeah.
happen.
And they needed that from the lead, especially with the first movie because he.
And what I will say is, like, if this movie had been with Eric Stoltz, it would be a completely different movie.
Well, we wouldn't
But
be
with
talking
Michael
about
J.
It wouldn't be a comedy.
Probably.
wouldn't be talking
With
about it.
Michael J.
Comedy
Fox,
adventure for
one of the things that I wanted to bring up for the trilogy is from Back to the Future 1, it created a world that we could all created a world.
In a world.
I heard that in my head as I said it. It created a world that all of us could just ride along and not really think about too much.
Sure.
They explained everything really well for at least the younger generation. When I saw it, it all made sense to me.
Okay.
I'm like, oh yeah, you can't mess with time. Because if you mess with time, it's going to change the future.
So
and if you change the future,
But that
who knows
idea
what that's going to
had
be.
already existed because of Star Trek. The time.
Yeah, but like it
Sure,
wasn't.
but for me,
No.
I'm
And
not
I get
sure
it.
that was relevant at that time.
I'm just jumping on what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that for the first time, it was an explanation of time travel for the masses.
Right, but you can see yourself in the characters more. I mean,
I-
Star Trek is a... Okay, so I can understand where you're coming from, because action-adventure comedy, we have like
I
these
ended up being
larger...
yeah.
We have these larger themes that can be played out, and you can be argued that there are things about societal, there's things about quantum physics or whatever. There's a lot of layers in this trilogy. There's all layers in these movies. I can imagine myself being a kid in California a lot more than I can imagine myself being a Vulcan. So it's more...
You know what? It depends, though. It depends on the kid. Because, I mean, if you're like an introvert,
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Okay, I do.
Like Marty is not an introvert.
you're right.
He
His
is the
confidence,
showstopper. Yeah,
the reason as to why he's successful.
Exactly is because
He
his
turns
confidence.
he turns his
He doesn't care how
relationship
big
around.
But
Biff
here's-
is. He takes Biff on.
Oh, by the way,
Spoiler alerts. Spoiler alerts.
yeah, he saves his
Totally.
he
Let's
saves
not.
his mom. And
Right.
Anyway,
But for
it was
me,
made in 1980. It was made in 1985.
for
I
me,
haven't
one of
seen
my
it too
favorite
bad.
characters from the get-go, of course, was Doc.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not?
How can
love
you
Doc?
not love?
But Crispin
dude.
Glover.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, no, seriously, you're my
What-
density.
yeah.
My destiny.
What a great-
You know what I mean? It's just like I identified with him so much because
Yeah.
I was one of those social
Yeah,
guys.
so many great character actors too in the first film. I mean, like
Love him.
People who can handle like we're gonna keep you in makeup for 6 hours so you look like you're 80 years old and you have to play the part perfectly.
Totally.
Everybody can do that, and you see that. That's one thing that I thought was really fun about the entire trilogy as a whole. I don't like the individual movies as much as I like seeing all three of them in order.
And that's okay. And
Because
that's the
of the
problem.
cast.
Yeah, and that's the
That's
problem.
not a problem.
Listen to me. When I say it's
We're
a
talking
problem,
about trilogies, not individual films.
No,
I mean,
but
okay,
either,
okay. go
but
ahead.
when it melds into one, Okay, because I know that one of the trilogies that we are going to go for debate is, let's say, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And
also, before you get started, Godfather did that.
No,
they were able to meld things together. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want at a great trilogy. And again, I would argue that
is one leads to the next, leads to the next.
It's a masterclass in continuity, guys. It really is.
Again,
especially when they reshoot the Jennifers.
Well, hey, they're willing to go that far to make it happen.
Again, I wouldn't necessarily say that the continuity is easy for this film because you pick 3 time periods.
Okay.
But the adventure stays the same. We're still trying to get back to the future. You know what I mean? And so, like, whereas you look at other trilogies, like Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Godfather.
So the goal changes.
The goal changes.
That makes it so much more complicated, though.
Exactly. So that makes it more creative and more and a deeper story.
And you still have that continuous through story of the ring has to make its destination.
For real.
Right? The ring has to still go. But yeah, we are now following this group of characters and this group of characters, this group of characters. What I did like about what they did in the second one is we saw a different perspective on the timeline.
Absolutely.
So we're now following Biff.
Right.
Rather than, it's the same thing. So for me, it was different enough in the sense of, okay, well, we know what Marty's adventure was.
Yeah.
And now we get to see a little bit of Biff's. And Biff is such an interesting character because he's such a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. He's such a great actor, too.
Well, he did a fantastic job with all of the roles.
But what's sad about it is that where did he go?
He's still around.
Yeah,
no, I know.
Still working.
But here's the thing. I don't know where he went.
Yeah,
and I agree with you there.
How dare you? Thomas F. Wilson is a consummate character actor, gentlemen.
I know, and he's been around for forever. But look at his actor headshot at the very first picture you pull up.
Okay, that's
you're going to identify with Biff.
Well,
that's Biff.
Okay.
I mean, like, once you start doing the Comic-Con circuit...
Oh, man.
I understand. I do.
Look at that School of Rock.
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay,
TV series.
Jesus. So the guy isn't in a fucking blockbuster every year. That doesn't mean that he's not capable.
But in movies,
not what I'm
but
saying.
that's what you're.
Not what I'm
That's
saying.
exactly. That's not what you're saying. That's what he's saying. The Comic-Con circuit. You used to work the Comic-Con circuit, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's not sad. You did great. You did great work with the Comic-Con.
Can I just say that he is at Universal Studios for the Back to the Future ride? He is the person. He and Doc Brown walk you through the storyline.
Bam.
Okay.
No, I don't know how relevant that is, but it's pretty cool.
I have no response to that other than okay.
All right, excellent. Thank you very much.
It's pretty fun.
Argument over.
So one other point that I wanted to bring up, I can't think of it in this exact moment.
Well, you were mentioning,
but it was very relevant.
Well, you're mentioning it's like the
going off of Bert's comment. One thing about Back to the Future is once I watch one, I want to finish 2, and I want to finish 3.
That's what a trilogy is
I really
supposed to
do want
do.
to finish it out. Now, I absolutely agree with Bert that they recycled a lot.
Okay.
Right?
Not only that.
And that's where I think the sleepiness comes in.
Yeah, I can cop to that. Okay.
And I didn't finish 3.
Oh, you really didn't?
I didn't.
Okay.
I got to...
How dare you?
The bar scene, which is one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Where he calls him Mad Dog?
No, when he takes the shot. When
Yeah.
The shot,
It just
Doc takes the shot.
Dude,
because you think that the whole time he's drunk, but
Right,
he's not. He's
right.
just... It's the first...
It's his first alcohol.
It's done.
Isn't that fun? I love
so
it.
good.
Yeah, so I laughed and turned it off.
Okay.
You laughed and turned it off. Okay. Well, I mean, if you don't
because
like
you know
having
the rest.
Yeah.
You
Got
prefer
it.
to have fun for 15 minutes versus having fun for an hour.
Oh,
and a
that's
half.
more than
Fine.
15
No,
minutes.
that's-
He made it almost to the end.
But I mean, like...
But it's a fun trilogy. That's what I mean. I think
It
that
is.
I find it refreshing that I don't have to take this thing so seriously as I do Godfather. Godfather is okay. One of the reasons as to why it's great is because it's so heavy. One of the reasons as to why it's great is because you have the capability of being able to take it so seriously. And that's a testament to the film. That's a testament to like the fact that these things actually happened. There's a twist on it through a creative process, but these things actually happened. But what's wrong with being able to say, okay, well, now I'm going to watch some teenager try and save his father figure by going through the quantum physics of a DeLorean? I mean, I think that's refreshing a lot of the time.
But that's why people are fans of it. I mean, I get that. I mean, I'm not discrediting that it's not a great piece of work. It doesn't mean that I enjoyed it this last time.
Okay.
Because
Well,
but it's up with the pantheons of the Ghostbusters. It's up there with the pantheons of the Goonies.
So the repetition,
and
I think that's actually something that we can agree upon when it comes to movies of this vein. Late 80s, early 90s action adventure comedy, they will always suffer from repetition.
Right,
I think.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
So again, when people say it's my favorite trilogy,
Still a great trilogy.
do you actually sit down and watch it, or are you vacuum cleaning or doing your taxes?
Well, I watch it, but I can definitely understand where you're coming from.
Because I mean, once you've seen it, I don't know.
Which is a great analogy too, because a lot of times it has been in the back. We talked about this before we started recording. If I'm like watching HBO because I'm bored or something, and it's Back to the Future. All right.
Yeah, you just leave it on.
Yeah, that does happen from time to time.
And you may catch a scene, and you may chuckle, and you may remember when you had like a Hulk T-shirt and some underoos.
Right.
But the reality of it is that it doesn't suck you in.
And you don't think people... Well, it does suck you in a little bit,
not
right?
Not for the commitment of watching... okay, there are certain... When you watch The Godfather, let's say,
right.
and you come in with when Michael shoots the cop and the bad guy.
Spoiler alert.
You keep your lovely voice in front of the microphone.
Yeah, so anyway, when you're committed at that point, with one scene...
Much better. It sounds so much better.
With one scene. With this, like I said, you turn it off because you remember the rest.
You can't tell me, though, that there hasn't been a time where you can't watch the entire Godfather trilogy in one sitting.
Only
it
because it's like
once.
15 hours. I mean, this is
what, 4.5 at the most?
4.5.
So you're telling me that you think more people would think about turning off the television if this was on versus The Godfather was on?
I think they'd finish the scene. I think they would finish the scene.
Yeah.
Because I went through it. I finished the scene, and then I moved on.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because, even if it had been 20 years since I had seen it,
Yeah.
the likelihood is I know, oh, yeah, that's right, the DeLorean gets blown up on the next scene, and they get back at the time. And then, Flea wrecks the truck. It's stuff that you will remember, again, because they are special movies.
Yeah.
But they're special movies because of nostalgia. They're not special movies because of, look at this thing. You know what I mean?
Nostalgia plays into it, but it's not the only thing. I mean, it's
sure.
It's easier to process. It's funner to process. I'm not going to. First of all, I'm not going to say something ridiculous like Back to the Future is more complicated than The Godfather.
Oh no,
no fucking way, no way at all.
I get that.
But I think it's interesting to have a piece of artwork where you understand that, oh yeah, that ending makes sense. The character's doing it because of this. The character's doing it because of that. It's like the first Matrix. I mean, we all knew that that Neo was doing these things for these reasons.
But my argument to it now, because before what I thought was, would Back to the Future be a contender now against a trilogy like The Godfather?
Right.
And the answer
or
is
Lord
no.
of the Rings.
Or Lord of the Rings.
Or another one.
And my kids could not go through this movie.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Really?
I don't think they could. I don't think they could. Because they would look at it like, to them, it would seem kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Because they are growing up in the internet world where they know what a time continuum is. They know
for sure.
That they know these catchphrases that this movie introduced, let's say, or at least concreted in.
Well, and somebody else has done it for them since then.
Yeah, and so that's one of those things where it's like they would look at it. They may get past the first one, but they can't identify with the 50s.
I don't think that it's...
See, we're old enough to identify with a lot of the time.
Sure, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But my kids can't. They would know what the 50s
Bro,
are.
you're going to have to
Unless they're fans of Mad Men.
Done.
But it's an adult show.
You're going to have to work really hard to convince me that this trilogy isn't up there in the top 5 because it doesn't, quote-unquote, age well. Okay.
But I think that's what makes a good trilogy.
What? It's timeless.
It's timeless.
That's such a bullshit thing.
No, because I think that the other contenders that
I think the other contenders fit more in that category than this. But this is also a different genre.
Dare you?
I know.
How dare both?
No. Hear me out.
He's a nice guy. I'm just.
I am a nice guy.
Yeah, you're the asshole.
And I will explain myself. I'll explain myself.
Go right ahead.
So, because this does have that cheesy comedy element to it, and it's not an animated movie.
Okay.
It's going to have less draw because it's so specific to its time frame that it was produced. In this time frame, and that's one of the things that I was going to bring up with the acting is the acting was terrific.
All right, it's only going to be a half an hour podcast.
I'm also going to add in too.
The acting was
terrific for the time frame because now it's a little bit on the cheesy side,
Yeah,
and
but
I don't
it
know
wouldn't
how many
work.
people.
What's wrong with cheese?
No,
and what do you mean by
no,
it
listen,
wouldn't
hang
work?
on.
Because
This
you're
movie-
30 something. That's why. Because you grew up with it.
I'm gonna say for me, there's nothing wrong with cheese.
Yeah, me
I'm
neither.
still a fan of this, and anytime like all I produce is cheesy stuff. I mean, come on, it's an influence in me.
But you produce it so well, Andrus.
But look at the millennials,
Right. Because
and that's the problem.
See, I knew you would jump on this.
No,
I
no,
knew you
no,
would jump on that. I was
no,
worried you were going to say shit like that.
Even if you go back to what's the one after Gen X?
Gen Y, I guess.
I don't even
fucking know.
I don't even know. But like after our generation, I think the social media and the internet world has taken away from the cheesiness that we all love so much from a movie like this.
and also
Because they won't follow it anymore.
Because everybody has to take themselves so fucking seriously.
I don't
Because
think it's just
everybody
that.
gets
no,
their own
but
movie.
but I don't get me wrong.
No, I'm not.
I don't like those people
I know.
because they ruin my movies.
but you
they
look
make
at-
me not make it so cheesy.
Nothing but tight jeans
Right.
and fidget spinners,
Jeez.
you
It's
fucks.
serious.
And here's a spoiler alert for the future. We
Spoiler
will be
alert.
reviewing
Thank you.
Baby
Spoiler
Driver,
alert.
which is a movie of
Oh.
now.
Say that again, say that again, Sam.
We'll be reviewing Baby Driver.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And it's a movie of now.
Yeah.
You know that but
That
that's
is
the kind
amazing.
exactly.
Easy,
For our
easy,
age-
easy,
I
easy.
know.
For our age, it's still we identify.
Yeah.
But it's truly a modern movie. In fact, so much so that now it's almost like if you guys noticed it was a real quiet movie. It's not a lot of dialogue and so
Yeah.
on.
Let's
And so-
not go into
No,
it
but
too
he-
much.
hear me
but
out.
I know.
yes.
How
Yes.
we talk about it?
If you go back to the 80s, especially during this time,
Yeah.
like
Movies were a
one
lot
of-
louder.
Oh, they were louder
That
and
was
they
true.
were in your face and they were really talky and and stuff. But it wasn't that witty. It was actually cool writing
Okay.
for its time. Because I would say it's better written.
You have got to move the microphone up to your mouth, I swear to God.
better written.
so good. Better written. It's so good.
So it's better written and it's more creative than, let's say, a Baby Driver.
Okay.
But I can't identify it without being, again, 11, 12, 13 years old when it first came out.
If you guys can give me that the major and quite honestly maybe the only fault in this not being a major, well, it is a major contender, but like not even being considered to be up there with Godfather is the fact that it doesn't age well, I can give that to you guys. But that isn't the fault of the movie. I mean, like you mentioned before, they're trying to absolutely make it marketable. They're trying to make it resilient. They're trying to make it appropriate for the people that they know are going to be in the seats. But I refuse to accept that this beautiful piece of artwork cannot be taken seriously.
But it's a sign of times. I mean,
Yeah, it
that's
is a sign of the times, but I mean, cheese can be taken seriously.
Let me
I
make
mean,
my argument on that.
Okay.
Let me make my argument.
Step outside of yourself for one fucking minute.
That
You
has
know what I
nothing
mean?
to do with
So
it.
here's
Has
the
nothing-
thing.
All right.
I think what happened here is they took a concept that worked really, really well for the very first movie.
Totally.
And I'll even throw a flashback to Guardians of the Galaxy, our podcast on that, right?
What?
Number 1 to number 2. What did they do with number 2?
They
Exact same thing.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true. That's true. You're right.
I think that's a byproduct of these movies. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I
so
Which I
you
think
t-
is
you take-
interesting in and of itself.
Sure.
You both make a really good point. in that
and I
regard.
think that's what, of course, it's a relevant trilogy.
Yeah.
But here's where I think they missed the mark on it being one of the top contenders against all of the other movies that we could argue.
Hit me.
Is you take one and it's a great idea. And now let's throw 2 and 3 in there for franchising and marketing and not really think about the whole concept of, well, let's make this movie to be one of the best movies we can make it so everybody can enjoy this forever.
And you mean have that attitude, make this movie the best
Sure,
we can make
sure.
it
Because
for each film.
If I think if they went with that mentality, going, okay, we did a great job on 1. Its success is because we did such a great job. How do we make that to 2 and 3 and translate so this does stand the test of time?
Okay.
How do we do that? And they tried to do some things in there, but it just comes off as cheeseball or ridiculous or whatever. Jaws 19. I mean, that's pretty ambitious.
That's
Spielberg.
hilarious.
No, it's hilarious, but that's also something that they're poking fun of with sequels.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't remember what the Jaws franchise was at that point. It was like 4 by the time we're talking about 2. When was 2 released? While you're looking that up, it's just
1978 it was released.
yeah. So
look, there's
we're on
Jaws 19.
3 and 4.
Did you see Jaws
Right?
19?
Yeah, I did. Hold on one second.
Yeah. So
Jaws 19.
In
Okay, so that isn't
2015.
that isn't part of the 2015.
that's
I guess.
hysterical. But yeah,
I don't know if that's
a
part of the
fun
main
poke. That's a fun poke
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting idea that they wanted to push it to that level.
Right.
I don't think that they took it serious enough to take it to that level.
I think the fact they didn't is what I like most about this. I have so much fun.
And I
when
understand that.
Don't shake your head at me. I have so much fun when I watch
Here's
all
the
three
thing.
of these movies.
Yeah, but so
I
you
understand-
had fun watching Meatballs, and you watch The Jerk, and you watch.
I love
it's
The Jerk.
Same stuff.
Thank you.
I do.
It's
I
the
like
same
jerk.
stuff, but to say
Yeah.
that it'll take the test of time
You compare it-
outside of Mike.
You compare it
no
to
way.
Lord of the
All right.
Rings,
All right.
and I don't find
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
find it standing
That's
up.
exactly
Okay,
right.
so
You
why,
put it up
though?
to Toy Story, I don't think it holds up.
I agree.
Okay, but we deal with like two different genres.
No,
we deal with
I
like,
understand
different
that, and that's
character development.
I
two different
understand
pieces
that.
of
They're
exposition.
all buddy films.
They're not fuck. Oh,
Well,
wait,
hang on,
No, actually,
hang on,
hold
hang on.
You gotta.
I have to agree with Bert that the character development doesn't go beyond in 2 and 3.
Okay.
I think everything that we need to know about these characters
It's done.
is in 1.
Yeah, maybe.
And now we're just along for the ride and see what kind of fun things happen.
Okay.
Tell me that doesn't happen in Lord of the Rings or
Toy Story, yeah.
or like
Godfather.
all of these characters grow so much.
Okay. I think
But
you guys are
because-
taking. I think you guys are taking it way too seriously.
No, well, I mean that's the point though.
Yeah.
we're,
Yeah,
we're
I agree.
comparing it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I am a fan. Okay,
you, Andrew.
I
said
know,
the same
I
thing.
know,
said
and I
the
have to
same
keep
thing.
saying this.
Yeah.
But I do think that it falls short on all of the other criteria.
Okay.
Right.
I am a nostalgic, like I'm a fan of nostalgia.
All right, for sure.
Like if this is on, I will watch it. Do I choose to put it in on a regular basis?
Probably not.
No.
Okay. Okay.
But that doesn't mean I won't quote it for forever, because I always do.
I appreciate you guys like going through and being, philosophical about it to the point that you can give a credit here, and then you decide, you just can't take it as seriously as you would with other
It's
other
not
trilogies.
a contender. It's just
One of the most quotable
completely
movies
a
that I
contender.
watched from my
Loser.
childhood.
Thank you. Oh,
for sure. It wins. It wins in a lot of categories, my friend.
Okay. Well, let's go
best
on then.
smile. Back to the Future.
Get the fuck out of here. Right, like Michael. Well, let me see. I'm trying to think of like some bad shit I can say about Godfather, but it is kind of.
Well, you can quote it like crazy.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, at least we all agreed upon that one being the best, so we're fine in that regard. But whatever. Let's dive in then a little bit. We can already see where I stand and where you two gentlemen stand in regards to this being a major contender or not, in regards to how it weighs up against the Godfather trilogy. Which one out of the 3 films that was in this trilogy was the leader, do you think, when it comes to?
I think we're all going to agree on that.
Which one?
One.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say 1. Yeah.
How come?
How come? Because
Before we jump into our own specialities, let's just talk about it.
I think we already. I think we already hit on that. It was, at least I did. It created a world that I was drawn into and I could relate to, and it had so much. There was just so much about it, especially in my mind's eye, that translated even rewatching it.
There's something to be said about the timing, like when it came out, but there are other movies that were similar to Back to the Future, I think.
In what sense?
Well, like Bert was talking about, we had like buddy films. There were, a lot of cop comedy dramas that came into play. What made this one truly original when it came to that?
Because it was truly original.
Wait, but why?
I'll
Why
tell you
though?
something. You have a high school student that has befriended this nuts, crazy,
That's
like,
true.
Yeah.
The age
mad
difference,
scientist
right?
Einstein.
Is the age difference alone
and
the characters?
that's a
you think?
huge difference
I think it was a
between
big
anything
factor.
else.
But one of the
I don't
things
know any
that
other dynamic.
I loved about it, as far as if we're going to get into that, I mean, like,
Well, I think we have to.
Their relationship is what makes these movies.
Absolutely.
I think so too.
And it's not a father figure relationship.
It isn't.
Because
It's a friend.
it's a friend.
It is a buddy comedy.
Chris-
it's a
like,
buddy.
Doc
It's a buddy movie.
looks with-
you guys have a hard time convincing me of that when Marty has no respect whatsoever for his own dad.
no, but he
But
does at
that's
the end of the first one.
but
does.
that's what he
by the
discovers.
end.
Yeah.
That's the discovery.
Yeah. So, like,
And that's
the
what
thing
I
Which
was-
is character development,
Stop.
you silly fox!
Which is the first movie we're
you're
talking
right. Okay, never
about.
mind.
Now.
I
Come on
rescind
now.
that. Okay, go ahead, Bert. I'm
But-
sorry.
But go ahead, because I'm going to
but
jump
one
on
of the
yours.
things is that I don't know if you guys have ever had an older friend.
Sure.
Like, and so, yes, Marty looks at him as a friend, but yeah, there is that like older brother, like
mentor
kind of thing. But he doesn't even look at him as a mentor, because what's cool about it is Doc looks at Marty with respect as well.
Yes, he
That's
does.
a great point.
He loves Marty's like humor, his courageousness,
his confidence.
Yeah. Stuff that Doc doesn't have.
Yeah.
So that's what makes him so perfect, because Doc doesn't develop any confidence until the third movie.
That's true. That's
so
absolutely
if you want
true.
to talk about character development, okay, Doc goes on a ride,
That is absolutely true. Thank you, Bert.
but he's not the main character.
Yeah. Well, I like to go back to Andrus's point when he talks about like how the spotlight is shifted like to Biff, to Marty, and that kind of thing.
But they're not the main
Hold on a second. In smaller degrees, they do that with other characters.
Yeah, they do.
And that it's more of an ensemble kind of thing. I'm not pushing the point that like Leah Thompson as Marty's mother gets more screen time or is more relevant in the story than fucking Marty McFly. I'm not. But the fact that they actually don't just push them aside, the fact that
they embrace all of
But the
them.
movie
they do,
work.
which is a genius in regards to Zemeckis and Spielberg's strategy. In regards
You're wrong
to it.
though, because they eliminated Crispin Glover and you didn't skip a beat.
That's not true. He wasn't in the second movie, but he was definitely in the first.
He wasn't in the third one either.
That wasn't him.
That wasn't him. It's just the first movie that he's in, and they get rid of him because they couldn't work with him.
He was in the second one.
No, he wasn't. Let's
find
That's
out.
McFly. That's Fox dressed like him. Now they may have used footage.
Minute.
They may have used footage.
So
Yeah.
Grandpa Crispin Glover was not Grandpa
that's
Crispin
Michael
Glover.
J. Fox. That's Michael J. Fox played all the roles. That's what made it like how they talk about Eddie
Well,
Murphy.
I know that he played,
Oh my
and that's one of the
God.
things that I was going to talk about when we went on to 2. But Crispin Glover was not Grandpa in that one.
He was. Now they use old footage. When they hug each other at the doorway. So, but all of that was from 1.
Well, no. What I'm talking about is in the
when
future,
he's hanging up
right?
upside
He's
down.
hanging upside down.
That's Michael J. Fox.
Shut up.
Yeah, it's Michael J.
Okay,
Fox.
so
it's
I did
Michael-
not know this.
It's not Michael J. Fox, but it is not Crispin.
George McFly is Jeffrey Weissman.
Okay, well, there. Okay.
But
So-
it wasn't the original actor. You're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So how interesting is that? Because I didn't know,
I had no idea.
You don't skip a beat.
and I don't skip a beat.
And that's what it is. If you
Thank you for
replace
bringing that up.
Frodo or not Sam Wise, what's the
Oh
actor's
no,
name?
you're knowing for sure.
Yeah,
You're
for sure.
knowing. Sean Astin makes that trilogy.
Okay, so it's it's an ensemble kind of piece. Light. It's not.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like Tab?
Yeah,
Because
come
they were
on.
drinking Tab?
Hey, they were drinking Pepsi in the movie, sir. You watch your goddamn mouth.
Free Pepsi. They don't even make it anymore.
I know it's crazy.
Do you want a tab?
Oh, dude.
Something without sugar. Here's some coffee.
Yeah. Thank
so-
you, Andrus.
Okay, so the other thing that I was going to bring up is amongst the buddy comedy aspect of it, the thing that I found to be super fascinating about the first one is you have a character that is of a certain age that goes back in time to meet his parents in the same age.
Yeah.
Like who doesn't think of their own family dynamic?
That's true.
When they do that, and it's so relevant, and just it's just so poignant for me as far as this movie certainly has a soft spot in my heart and my mind and everything.
Because it reminds me of that.
It just blew my mind when I was that age.
There's an old saying that goes, between the ages of 15 and 17, I thought my father was a freaking moron. But by the time I was 28, I realized he was one of the most intelligent people in the world.
Sure.
And that's just, and this movie speaks to that, because how many of us have not, been... Exactly.
That's good.
The fucking peanut
There's my
brittle?
George McFly.
The peanut brittles are ridiculous. How many of us have, not stopped? I mean...
Jailbird Joey. I mean,
Right?
come on. I can quote the whole thing.
You better get used to these bars, kid. How many of us have not? I mean, I've personally, I can't speak with anybody else, of course, but personally, I've stopped and I've reflected on how old I am and realized what my dad was doing when he was my age.
And they
raising
answered
my
the
kids.
question.
They did answer the question.
They answered
You're
the
right.
question.
This is what they would
posed
do.
a question. Well, what were you doing up in that tree, George?
Exactly.
And we find out he's peeping,
Which goes back to
which
the
is amazing. He's a 17-year-old boy.
Which is one of the things that I loved about the entire trilogy, the continuity in this. I mean, just the little Easter eggs that you see, the little bits
beautiful.
of dialogue
It's
that are
beautiful.
carried out throughout the entire film.
Number one.
Regardless of the marketing being copied, That kind of stuff has not been copied as well in trilogies since this one was made.
Oh, no, they've gotten better. Come on, man.
Okay,
Again,
maybe
one of the things.
maybe
that,
the ones
this
that
one was
maybe
different.
okay, but it's few and far between. Maybe in the ones that you guys are quoting that we'll be talking about in later episodes, sure. But like this is the one that started that whole need.
This is one thing that I think that it did set. Not to cut you off, but they shot.
Oh, you meant to cut me off. It's fine.
I did. They shot 2 and 3 at the same time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then
for doing
that set the parameter for
Lord of the Rings.
Yes, or The Hobbit, and so you had these films.
Well, he was aging out too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too. Is that they got lucky. They got the mileage from Michael J. Fox.
It's true.
For that long to play a teen.
How influential was the production aspect of this trilogy to future movie productions?
Oh, I
this is
think
the first one that they. Not to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Back
again,
to what he was saying.
you meant to cut
I
him
meant
off.
to because I didn't want to lose this because it jumps on what Andrus is talking about. The marketing.
Yeah.
They made a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
That they were shooting it at the same time.
And this is the first time they realized
the first time that they were like making.
We can do this. Holy shit.
Yeah. That they were shooting 2 movies at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was like all over MTV because this is the MTV generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So every news break on MTV was Back to the Future 2 and 3 same time. It's like awesomeness. And so it did set a
standard.
A standard,
Yeah.
that you could possibly shoot 3 movies in one time.
you could provide more stable contracts for crew, for actors, for agents, for publicity.
Well, I mean,
and that's
all
the
of
business
it.
side.
if you look at this and then you look at a movie like Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, they of course filmed that all at the same time.
Yeah.
But they decided to release it as 2 volumes.
Oh, I see.
Which I think is marketing awesomeness.
Yeah.
Because they did it in such a time frame where you could actually really, okay, well, here's volume 1. Mm-hmm. Let's get everybody on board with what this
Start
is.
the fire. Start the
fire. Get it burning, and just kill it at the end with volume 2, which
real.
I appreciated a lot because I was so pissed off that I didn't get to watch volume 2 knowing that it was done.
Having these,
don't make me wait.
Having these conversations with you guys and talking about like on the back end, like the genius that comes into play with
So
studio
smart.
execs and how they want to help actors and how actors have to make deals.
I don't think it's
and
about help.
Well, not help. That's the wrong word.
No,
You're right.
it's all for their own benefit.
Yeah,
Come
for
on.
real. Yeah, you're right. But like, I really have a problem with like that dichotomy because I don't want to sound like too much of a bullshit artist or too into myself, but I like to think of myself as an artist in a certain way. But I can't help but appreciate the fucking game behind the money that this franchise has made and like the way in which it affected the way in which studios make money in the future.
Can you see what this is worldwide? Do you have it on there? Like what the actual tally is on what Back to the Future is made?
Talk amongst yourselves and I will find it.
It'll be at the bottom, I think. There you go. The budget was $19 million back then. That's crazy. That's and it's grossed to this point, based on whatever the stats are in 2017, $210 million off of, and that's the first movie, right?
Yeah.
That's
$210 million off of a $19 million investment.
That's ridiculous.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Well, now let's compare that to Godfather. Compare that to
because they're still making
Lord
money
of the Rings.
Yeah.
Of course they are, right?
Yeah,
because
they're still
it's
making money
syndicated. Everything gets played. Everybody gets their money. Rentals, $105 million. I mean, that's crazy.
And this is during
And
the
when are those
apex
stats?
of rental, because we don't rent movies anymore, really.
That's true.
Right.
So like to say that even just on rentals, it did better than the actual production.
That's
that's
a
something
huge
to be said about
no,
it.
it is
About
it's,
it too.
It's
And
a terrific response.
Yeah, but VHS and Back to the Future is synonymous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed for my daughters, like 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah.
In their library of which they won't have DVD libraries
of digital media.
Digital media, Back to the Future is one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this movie is what to our parents is Casablanca. Is you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And
I understand.
that might
Where
sound
it's just
extreme.
in your library,
It's
right?
just- it's part of your childhood.
It's like having Fargo in your DVD collection.
Exactly. It's like
Oh no, I think I'm gonna barf.
but it's one of those things where I just don't think it's going to get past our generation.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, whereas I feel like the other films that we have discussed.
So it's film class
They will.
fodder. Is that what you're saying?
it's gone.
Well, one point that I will disagree on is if you're a fan of the genre still lives.
What, 80s film?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
fair. Okay.
I mean, like, for instance, I'm certainly going to show this to my nieces and nephews. I don't
It's
know
a
if
fun
I'll have
movie.
children, but would you show this to your children at some point?
Possibly, but probably not. Because here's the example that I use is the
Probably
Ghostbuster.
not. Get the fuck
Listen,
outta
listen.
here. Okay.
When Ghostbusters, the newest one, came out,
Yeah.
Well,
My
now
kids-
it's been remade.
remade.
Yeah,
right? When it
okay,
came
that's a
out,
different story, too.
They loved it. My kids loved it.
Right.
Now, between the three of us,
Could you show them the original now and have them
hear
take
me
it
out.
serious? Probably
Have you guys
not.
seen the new one? Have you
No,
seen the new one?
I haven't.
I have not.
Sorry.
Okay, because you guys have class and know what the hell you're talking about. The thing
You
is,
love you.
sexist son of a bitch.
I love you, Kristen Wiig. Please do not judge me on that.
No,
I
here's-
will watch
here's
it
why.
when I
I
can.
love Kristen Wiig.
here, they never could remake that movie as cool as it
As the
was
original.
in the original.
I agree.
And so they go out there and
Why? Because there's women in it instead
Shut
of dudes?
up.
I don't know.
Oh, don't you dare.
Stop
Don't
talking.
you dare, because
Okay.
that's
Because
absolutely
the
not what it
only
is.
reason-
I know.
That's the only reason my kids identified with it, because they were women.
Okay.
Now, when I showed them the
Not a
first
bad
one,
thing, but I respect where you're coming from.
When I showed them the first one,
Yeah.
they remember the first one
Ooh,
Oh,
because
how
it's the
great
better
is
film.
that?
because it's better.
Your kids are brilliant.
So,
I
like,
love
the,
those
the
girls.
thing is, the Slimer's cooler.
Yeah.
You know, they kept saying that the Slimer's cooler.
Ray, he
Now,
slimed
that,
me.
that doesn't mean that in time they'll rewatch it.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, the new one, may be imprinted in their mind. So that's their version.
Yeah.
Whereas Ghostbuster, the original, is our version.
So what you're saying is that we need a Back to the Future remake
Oh, God,
so
no.
we can really
They just
judge
need
the
to stop.
quality
Well,
of
no,
this
I mean, that's
film.
what I brought up at the beginning.
That's
and
the problem.
Okay.
Why do we need a remake
Just shoot my face.
for Back to the Future?
Because it makes money.
Well, that's, again, the behind the
And
scenes
I think,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. And that was one thing that I find really interesting whenever we come together to talk, because every time that we have discussed a film and been critical about it from a creative standpoint, there's always a voice in the back of my head saying, yeah, no, good point. It made a lot of money, though.
Sure. Will you do me a favor? Will you see if there are plans to do a remake of Back to the Future currently?
Sure.
God,
They're like when-
Because I'm going to be really upset if that's the case, because some things you should just leave alone.
But they won't. They won't.
I understand that.
well, when Back
Like,
to the Future Day came about back in 2015, there were some.
Well, there were talks of 4 and like moving on and all of that, but I don't think that.
No, that's a go. There's fan trailers for it. I watched that before.
Yeah, but currently there's no plans for a remake, which is awesome. So here's the thing. Because there's no plans to remake it now, and
Yeah.
hopefully it stays that way for a long time.
Yeah, it's just fan
But I mean, like,
stuff.
Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean,
God.
I don't know how.
How
that
many times can you get a
Spider-Man.
story? Oh, for
Well,
sure.
I'm going to
That's
talk about that in a
contract
second.
obligations,
I'm going to
though.
take that back in a
Doesn't
second.
It doesn't
Doesn't
matter
matter.
because if they don't
like-
make a new movie, they're going to lose the franchise.
But here's the thing: you go with a movie that was semi-successful because you have a star in it like Jessica Alba, and you have
Jessica Alba back in Dark Angel. Thank you, Jesus.
Well, sure.
Sorry. Anyway.
But I mean, you do have. I mean, Chris Evans was in it before
Right.
he was Captain America. He's the Human Torch. You've got some strong actors playing these roles, which is why that franchise did as well as it did.
That's true.
But it only made it to 2.
Yeah.
And then they remade it with a new fan base to try to salvage that whole franchise.
Right.
And are they doing another one? I hope to
I hope
God
not,
not,
yeah.
because
Well, the last one flopped so bad.
No, it was such a big
Yeah.
flop, but it's an iconic franchise. I think they might do it again.
Not really, because that's the other thing too. This is
I don't
coming
know
from-
that they've learned their lessons though.
Like, coming from a comic book fan,
Right.
Yeah.
did you guys know that there is no Fantastic Four comic book?
That's not true.
There is no.
Is it just based on the
currently
cartoon?
printed-
Is it just based on the cartoon?
hear me out. Currently printed, there is no Fantastic
So it's not
Four
relevant
comic
anymore.
Since when?
since like 3 years ago.
Really?
Maybe 2.
Jesus Christ.
They killed the Fantastic Four.
the movie franchise killed the comic book.
No.
Yes, it did.
Probably. That could be an argument. That could be an
That's
argument.
funny.
That could be an argument.
Right.
But they killed you go to a comic book store or
Yeah.
a stack, and you look for Fantastic Four, you will not find it.
Why?
Anything current.
In nothing current, because it's not relevant.
Oh, come on.
They killed it because they couldn't make it sexy. And they tried with this last one because, we'll replace the Human Torch with a black dude. And they'll
here's
have
the
a
thing.
cool, complicated relationship with Sue.
But the actors they have in this are terrific actors.
That doesn't matter.
They are terrific actors, and they still ruined it. I don't get it.
Because my kids don't know who Fantastic Four is.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
And like...
That's such a shame.
Well,
and that's how it goes.
Well, little 3-year-old, 4-year-old, do you know who Spider-Man and Thor are?
Yeah,
Yes.
it totally
See,
do.
and
Yeah,
that's
a good
that's
Do you
point.
know who
right.
the Human Torch
if
is?
the franchise...
The Thing?
Because
What's
they can
the
make
Thing?
so they can make Spider-Man sexy. That's why they put him.
That's it.
into-
Guess why they chose Tom Holland? Because he can flip in and out of his movie.
They chose
They
Tom
did.
Holland because he's a hard-working gymnast from the UK, sir.
Do you know
watch
what?
your
He's
mouth.
not just a gymnast. He is an actor, and he is a force.
You're right.
He
Good call.
worked his
Is he?
butt off for
He is.
every single
Yeah.
role that he did. He wanted to
But-
be Billy Elliot, so he took ballet lessons for
That's it.
2 years to make sure that
But
he did
here's
it.
the thing.
He is a talent, and
But
I'm a
now,
fan.
Right.
he may be a talent.
I can respect that.
He may be a talent.
Oh, here comes Bert
But
with
if
the butt.
Spider-Man continues on where it's going, because, they signed up for the sequel.
Yeah.
But let's say the sequel busts again,
Sure.
he's going to be in the pantheons of Tobey Maguire and the other guy.
Well, no-
And we don't even remember the other guy.
Well, of course you do, because it's Andrew Garfield, and he's awesome.
Thank
But
you.
Still.
I'm
No,
so
but
glad
still.
we have an actor who is here to
the
contribute.
actor, remember. Did you remember?
I know he has a new movie coming out where he plays a quadriplegic.
Well, you know what's sad? It's Andrew Garfield because he was in that Soldier movie, right?
Yeah,
that
he was.
that
Mel Gibson's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell of a job.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Hacksaw Ridge. Hell of a job.
And he was nominated for the award.
Right. But that's not...
But he's not nominated for Spider-Man.
He's not, yeah.
with Jamie Foxx as one of the
Right.
villains.
Wouldn't that be the shit? Like if instead of Oscars or whatever, we had like an acting draft, and instead of getting the Oscar, you'd be awarded certain contracts, something like that. That would be the award
Do
instead
you know
of like
how
getting the
wonderful
statue.
that would be?
But
Good
to some
grief.
degree, it is that way.
Yeah.
You win an Oscar, you're set for life. You're always going to get a movie.
Halle Berry would beg to differ.
That's not true, man.
Oh,
Come
dude.
on, man.
Are
That-
you
Halle
serious?
works.
Come on. And she works, but like
She works all the time still.
All right.
Do you see her movies? Are they relevant? Maybe not, but she works
'cause
constantly.
You bring up Cloud Atlas, it sucked.
Which
Well,
brings
but-
me,
but here's the thing.
which brings me back to Thomas F. Wilson, who is going to take control of United Studios and make Universal Studios and make that ride worth.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but that was also 15 years ago.
Okay,
Whatever.
very good.
But here's the thing. Michael J. Fox, everybody knows his name,
Absolutely.
right? Christopher Lloyd, everybody knows his name.
Yeah, and his production credits as well.
Everybody else,
Oh, come on, dude.
I'm sorry.
Only if you're from the 80s and 90s.
Everybody else.
Leah Thompson was relative when we were teens.
Here's the
Look,
thing.
look,
Leah
I-
Thompson is still a working actress, and I think she's terrific. And
Yeah.
I will always think that she's terrific because
Yeah.
she does good work.
I have a
Crispin Glover. I know who that is. I know who Tom Wilson is. I know. Like
Elizabeth Shue.
Well, Elizabeth Shue. I was also gonna say Billy Zane's in there.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm
True,
glad
true.
that you went down to Billy because
the
Billy
Phantom making it happen.
But yeah, what
Billy's
Billy
making
and
the Phantom.
Flea, because Flea
Flea
is
in it
this
too.
movie.
Flea's in it too. But
He's not an actor. I mean,
Let-
well, he's a great bass player.
let's take
though.
it back
Give him some
really
credit.
quick to what we were talking about. One is the better one.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
Two-
Thank you for keeping us focused, Andrus. I
Two was
appreciate
the
it.
first time I ever saw an actor play multiple roles.
Yeah.
And he did a lot
Yeah,
in two.
it's true.
He played himself. He played his future son. He played his future daughter.
Mm-hmm.
He also played...
He didn't play as
Did we go back
He
to
wasn't
the
in
West
that,
in
though.
that one? Or no?
no,
No,
not in the
not
second
in
one.
two.
No.
Again,
Okay,
it
cool.
all melds
But what
into
they
one.
also did that blew my mind was they went back to the 50s again,
Yeah.
and then they showed the same footage with both Michael
let's-
J. Foxes.
Let's jump into that.
And that was just like, and both docs at one point.
Let's jump into that.
And I'm like,
because-
what?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That's
It's
super cool.
awesome.
Like this film, in and of itself, proved that. I mean, well, you guys mentioned
There were some benefits in all three.
Well, the whole
they
blue
were really
screen
fun.
thing, too.
Right.
Technically, I mean, I didn't realize a blue screen was
Hoverboard.
Hoverboards. Holy shit! The fact that they had to frame everything appropriately so you couldn't see the hydraulic lift in the back of the DeLorean when it was taking off and that kind of stuff.
So many cool things.
Absolutely. So let's jump into that. Let's go to our own specialities.
Star
then
Wars
we've
did
been. Oh Jesus Christ!
Um,
So
We can talk about
Empire
all
did
of
better.
those things.
we've been talking for an hour. Let's jump in and go to our own specialities, and then speak about which of the three films was strongest given our speciality. So Bert, when it comes to the three films in the trilogy, which one do you think from A Man Behind the Camera had the biggest strengths?
Well, to me, they all seemed the same.
Sure.
They all looked the same.
I have my vote on that one for you.
Let me finish.
I know. I'm gonna.
I think that 2 was probably the more creative visually. Because, I mean, like, in 1, you spend a lot of the time in the little town, you know, and then when you get back to, I forgot the name of the town. What's the name of the town?
Hill Valley.
Hill Valley. Like, and then the present stuff.
I questioned myself there. I'm
the present stuff is just, you know, random mall in LA, you know. But I think that in 2, they actually had to construct things, you know, to make the setting be different and interesting.
The set design was out of
Well, I think they did the suburb. I think they did the town square. And I think they did.
But it still looked like, because like Biff's Tower is different. You know, that's a different thing.
Right.
Completely different.
There were many a parking
cemetery,
lot in
that was the
California,
first
though.
time.
Well, they also did you're talking about the variety of, you have Hill Valley from Michael's timeline, Hill Valley from the new time.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera.
So-
and
so-
the future. So that's 3 different sets of the same.
To me,
They
and
were
also
shooting out in the hills for a long time out there.
Yeah, like
The third movie.
because I mean, in the third one, it's just Hill Valley in the western town.
Yeah.
So from a cinematic point of view, 2 is more interesting.
Okay.
You know, because you're jumping around. You know, you have day, night. You
There's
have
more
future,
action.
past.
There's
you
more
know,
action in the second movie, for sure.
That's exactly right. And so I think it's funner to
Yeah.
watch as far as from a cinematic point of view. You also have cooler stunts
Yeah.
that you hadn't, like with the hoverboard, let's
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
and
There's
everything.
that scene where like Biff is dragging his 3 compadres or whatever, and like he hits the ground, and they all
Right.
go flying into the window pane
Right.
and that kind of
And
stuff.
so where, like in 3, though they have dramatic stunts, it's still, you know, they're just copying 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like, or copying old westerns. You know, it wasn't like they did anything unique.
Well, and that's
where
why I
felt-
thought you were going to choose 3, is because it's so much more cinematic
Well,
as
and
far
it
as
is,
visual,
but
as
for
far as the
me,
landscapes.
interesting.
And whatnot. That's
for me,
interesting. Yeah.
As for cinematic wise, I think 2 had more balls.
Well, they have
to
3
it.
different timelines in one movie.
Exactly.
So
And
it's-
so to keep that, because like
Technically, it's 4.
oh, you're right. You're right
So-
because it had the present, the weird.
You have
presents.
Michael's original,
Yeah.
Michael's alternate.
Right.
You have the
past and the
and you
future.
have the future.
You're
So,
right.
yeah, 4.
yeah, and so it's one of those things where
Who's
I think-
counting? Andrus is counting.
Yep.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
I am.
When you guys talk about continuity,
Yeah.
that's what makes it.
I think that makes
Absolutely.
a great point. The
Absolutely.
fact that it was a steady story. Like there wasn't any time where I was like, that was a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, right, exactly.
That it went smoothly,
But-
regardless of a completely different fucking universe.
Yeah, but again, I feel like it's all the same. I mean, they had the same DP for all of them, so
Yeah.
I mean, like it felt neat. But that one, because you're jumping up and down more violently than the other 2,
Yeah, you would think it would affect you
it would
more.
affect
Yeah.
you more. But it doesn't.
that's good
It's pretty
filmmaking.
yeah, it's good filmmaking. So I would pick 2 as the best visual.
I agree.
Pouring wine right now.
In a way.
You want more?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, cool. Ben, thank you very much, Bert. I think I agree with you completely in regards to that. And I think it's really great that you brought up that point that in the second film, regardless if they're being like blatant juxtapositions in regards to like these different worlds that are popping in, because they're able to appreciate the different angles, the different crane shots.
And
the
it
different
has
things that
Elizabeth
pop in.
Shue.
God bless Elizabeth Shue. It still felt like a cohesive movie. So good. I
did.
agree with you on that one for sure. It
did.
What about you, Andrus? When it comes to the acting, I mean, you already mentioned before, the cast in all of these is strong.
Yeah,
so which
the
one
cast,
had
the cast is incredible. So, I mean, as far as the ensemble, I've got to go with number 1.
See, how do you wrap your head around that? Because you have the same group of actors through, well, for the most part. I mean, we already discussed how some actors were pushed and pulled and that kind of thing. But for the most part, you have the same actors for all 3 films.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I am a huge fan of Elizabeth Shue because of her career, and I've followed her career.
Sure.
I'm a really big fan. Shout out to
One
The
of
Saint.
the greatest movies.
The Saint, I love her.
Whatever, man.
And Piranha? Come on, man.
Piranha.
No, I'm sorry, but I have to.
I love it. I love it
no.
that you're saying all of those and not the one that
No.
you got nominated the
No,
Oscar
but Heart
for.
and Soul,
Yeah.
I love.
What about that?
Come on, Leaving Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And
She was
all of
great.
them. No,
She
all
was
of them.
so
She
good in
was
that movie.
naked. That's
No.
why she was great.
That is that. Well,
all of those movies. I mean, I fell in
wasn't
love,
just
of
because she was
course,
naked,
with
but-
Adventures in Babysitting,
Yeah,
and
fuck
Karate
yes.
Kid. Come on. Okay.
Karate Kid.
dude, don't
Dude,
even
she was
start.
amazing.
Don't
She
even
was the
start
fat
with that.
girl.
Okay.
Wait,
She wasn't the
What
fat
the
girl. What are you
fuck?
talking about? Okay,
Just
whatever.
because a woman wears
The end.
knee high, how dare you, sir?
The end. Whatever.
Sorry, Andrus. Go right ahead. I apologize.
I'm sorry, Marilyn Elizabeth. Boy, synonymous.
And I also really appreciate Mary Steenburgen. I really liked what she did in 3. Right. So shout out to really how they put the cast together anyway. But for
Money.
What's that?
Money.
Money.
Well,
Money. I like the
They still have the
money.
chops. They still have the chops.
But really who Doc wins.
God damn, right?
Doc wins.
Right.
I mean, flat out, Christopher Lloyd is the best part of all of them.
Okay.
So I've got to say, as far as an ensemble, I'll give it to 1. But Doc is my favorite. Now, the reason that I say that is because for me, he's the most grounded in his character, in his role, the entire time.
I gotcha.
Now, I will say that the
Special guest, folks.
yes, welcome. Hello.
Hello.
I will say
He's grounded, but you will
that
say
the
that.
other characters like Leah Thompson.
Yeah.
I didn't believe her necessarily as the adult mom.
Really?
I totally bought her as.
Yeah, she sucked.
No, I
she's
didn't.
great.
get the fuck
No.
She was
Honestly,
cool as the
honestly,
young
I didn't. I loved her. I loved her as the high school student.
Damn
Yeah,
right.
that's-
And I
the
loved
best
Crispin
one.
Glover as the high school student.
I agree.
Now
dark and
I will always laugh like George McFly. No, I will always do that because I love it.
That bowl, I
mean-
swear to God, I know I said it before, that huge fucking bowl of peanut brittle just freaks me out every fucking time. It's all gray.
No,
and it's like,
it's the
No,
best
but you
thing
know
ever.
what?
I love it.
It's a deleted scene.
No, is it really?
No,
That's
here's
hysterical.
the peanut butter will actually.
Yeah.
There's a scene to it. There's a little kid that comes up to the door and knocks on the door and says with his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad looks at McFly, old McFly, and
George
says,
McFly.
It was it
buying
Billy
a case.
Zane?
You're buying a case of this.
Was it Billy Zane?
Yeah, I mean, no, it was like some other, a neighbor.
It was
But
another bully. The
Another
idea was-
bully. He says, "You're buying a case of this. We'll bring you the whole box." That's why they have.
That's
peanut
shit.
butter.
I
That's
love
why he
that.
has so much of it.
I love
Yeah.
that.
It's
I
because
love
of
that.
Oh, let's really quick, because if we're going to quickly go on the subject of director's cuts, I like the director's cuts of all the films better than, because like the second one, you missed a major plot point when old Biff disappeared because the older Biff of the bad president got shot by Leah Thompson, which I thought was a really
Oh,
important
really?
thing.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Existed.
See? Oh my God, I'm educating. Oh, awesome. Okay.
I didn't know that.
Anyway, you were saying.
Wait,
I'm so confused
yeah,
because
what
he was still
director
back in the
cut?
Okay, so
55.
here's
He was in 55 because he gives over
So
the.
it's only in the second movie. I'm not.
Well, this
completely
is the
sure.
second.
You're right. In the second movie, you know that Biff, who has the cane, steals the DeLorean to go back to 1955.
Yeah, that's in the movie.
Right. But what you don't see is that there is a scene after he returns the DeLorean back to where it was before into the possession of Doc and Marty. And the same scene where he breaks his
The cane breaks. Yeah.
He goes off behind a dumpster and you're seeing
No,
that
he
he's
goes
in-
off in the dumpster. He's gone.
yeah, and he's in pain. He's
Yeah.
like, I always wondered what was going on, and it's because Leah Thompson's character shot the bad
All right. Well,
younger Biff, and the older Biff disappears.
It's starting to die.
He disappears
I
out
don't
of
know about
existence.
that because
Is that
the
shot?
way the
Google
way,
it.
The
Google
way,
it.
The
It's
way
there.
he knocks the I think that's just somebody making sense out
I'm
of
telling
the
you
story.
right now, there is a scene where old Biff.
So it's actually shot.
It's actually shot. He
Okay.
disappears from existence.
Because for me, the fact that he's no longer in the storyline is irrelevant.
Sure.
Because
Oh, it goes back to that. Yeah,
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 it
exactly.
goes back anyway.
Yeah.
The fact that he's injured and in pain and goes behind the dumpster is because he hurt himself.
Nah,
he,
it's because
broke
he's
his
disappearing
cane.
from existence.
Whatever.
No
It's very
kidding.
painful.
I don't
That's
care.
interesting.
The
There's
end.
a scene where they do the
Blah,
fade.
blah,
All right,
blah.
fine. You don't
I'm gonna
believe
have to check
no,
that out.
Google
no,
it. Google it.
I
swear to God.
agree with you, but I'm it doesn't matter to me.
Okay, fine.
It doesn't matter.
And I agree with Andrus.
Yeah,
overall.
I mean,
Okay,
because
fine.
But
because
that's
it is a
interesting.
secondary character, and it doesn't matter by the point of we're changing timelines
Yeah, it was
anyway,
cut
and
for a
we never
reason.
go back to him.
It was cut for
we
a
never
reason.
go back to it,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
But you know what though? I always wondered why he was in pain. But
Yeah.
I thought he was just an old duffer.
well, he broke his cane on his abdomen. He broke a rib. He
No.
punctured a lung.
Yeah.
Nope, his innards were
Poor guy.
His innards were liquefying.
Do you know
and was
what?
becoming
Serves
part
him
of the main-
right.
Yeah.
He is a turd from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Who cares?
Absolutely.
He should be eating more manure. I love that they even threw that back to the Wild West. I
Yeah.
love it. Did
Yeah.
you guys see that? Same manure company?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
See, all
Well,
that.
most of the companies. Are the same.
Yeah.
If you
it's
guys
terrific.
do a Google search for Easter eggs in the whole trilogy, you will be pleasantly surprised because it's all badass. And again, continuity is key.
No,
regards to the whole thing.
it's
And
terrific. It's
awesome.
but
Let the man talk about audio. let's move on.
It's all right.
Okay.
No, he
Well,
wasn't finished yet.
I was just going to come back to Christopher Lloyd.
Oh God.
Nice. Okay, well, first of all,
The
thank
end.
you, Bert. Secondly, no, you were saying, okay, at the end. All right.
No. That I was just
That's
wrapping
awesome.
it back up.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the first film is going to be the first
That's
film
his
is going to be the
first
strongest
choice.
regards to acting. But we cannot have Back to the Future, the trilogy, without Christopher Lloyd. Arguably, we can't have
No,
it.
seriously.
We'd even be able to get somebody else for Michael J. Fox. But if we lose
you
Christopher
know what?
Lloyd, then we're out.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
I
agree
don't
with
know
that.
about that. I don't know about that because Michael J. Fox. I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
that's-
first person that you think
that's
of, and
right.
then
I feel
you
ya.
think of
That's right.
his
It's Marty.
relationship
He's Marty,
with Doc.
man. I mean,
Yeah.
He's the lead.
Yeah.
He's the first person you think of. Doc is his buddy,
Best supporting actor for sure.
and then Einstein.
yeah.
Depends on what timeline, though.
Yeah, it's true. It goes back and forth, dude. It's
all I'm
shit.
saying.
Dog changes, too.
It's all good shit. All right, so then let's go on to what I was thinking about. I think honestly, when it comes to the sound that we're dealing with this, I kind of fall into the camp of there's more opportunity means that it's a harder job, meaning that I probably have to give props to the second movie. When
Interesting.
when you're dealing with I think it goes like the second movie, the third movie, and the first.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you're dealing with Westerns, one of the underlying things that people don't realize is that because you're not dealing with the capability of being able to, and hear me out, but
Soundstage it.
honestly, yeah, the location means a
I
difference.
understand completely.
When you're dealing with Westerns, 9 times out of 10, at least given my initial research and my experience, I've never shot a Western myself, but I have definitely I have done production in urban environments versus less urban environments. You're going to have, less options. And the fact that the third one was so full of sound, I mean, putting the score aside, the score is legendary. You're not going to, you can't listen to the first few chords of that and like, dun, 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 dun. It's amazing. That was carried out through all 3 movies. But the way in which they handled the amount of need on the second film is what really convinced me of that being like the best one. And also the way in which they were creative given, less capability because the majority of scenes were shot out in the hills of California for the third one. I also have to give them credit for. But just because I think they had to work harder and I think they had more capability of doing a bad job with the second film and they pulled it off as being just this really incredible thing, I have to give props to the crew on the second film. I think the sound design and the music aside, the sound design was definitely stronger on that one because they had more opportunity and they didn't drop the ball, pretty much.
I agree, actually. So.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, like, the only reason the third one could possibly edge it is because of the difficulties of shooting outside.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
other than that, I agree. I mean, the second one is fuller. Well, I think they learned off the first one.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely,
They
Bert.
learned off the first
And
one.
then
Not that the first one's flawed at all.
It's the same crew, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's the same.
They were able to make some muscle on the first one and they realized what they were really capable of and experiment with the second
Right.
one. And then the third movie, I like to think, at least from a sound designer's perspective, it's like, okay, well, this is my exercise in minimalism. I'm still going to make this. Not that it was minimalist at all. You had gunshots. You had a party as the third act.
There's so much that they do in it, but
Yeah.
the second one really bridges all of it.
For real.
So I agree with you.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, guys, I think that's about it. We're going to call it quits when it comes to this
Oh,
particular...
wait, did we say which one is the best one overall?
Oh, you're right.
Wait, are we doing that still?
So overall,
Is
then,
that a
you're
part
right.
of what
You're
we're
right. Thank
doing?
you, Bert, for reminding me. So,
One.
One.
Go ahead.
2. No, it's 1. It's definitely 1.
The end.
Oh my God, you guys. Okay, so we cannot thank you guys enough for dealing with this diatribe of trilogies.
Because
Why is it, Bert? Why?
because we may not know what we're talking about, but it's your job to tell us.
It absolutely is. So, guys, take a minute and let us know what you thought. Go ahead and email us, pullfocuspod@gmail.com. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on SoundCloud and let us know how we're doing. If you guys have different opinions in regards to whether or not Back to the Future is a good trilogy at all, whether or not it's a contender for the best trilogy ever made, you let us know.
Great Scott!
I know, this is heavy.
All right.
And we'll be
Heavy.
more than happy to just listen
There's
to it
something
and see
wrong
what
with
we
the
can do.
gravity in the future.
I know, we can still quote it. Hey, why don't you make a leaf
Make like
and
a
tree out of here?
No, It's make like a tree and leave.
Do you know how
butthead.
stupid you sound?
I love it.
Oh my God! All right, but anyway, let me take a real quick minute. Remind you guys that you can follow us on all the other kick-ass online venues that we have. To my brothers in crime, Bert, thank you so very much for giving me your time and talking about this. Andrus, thank you so very much for giving me your opinion and your incredible McFly impression. And to everybody else out there, thank you so very much for giving us a listen. We will see you again soon. Take care, and thank you.
Thank you for being an alcoholic, Leah Thompson.
Woo!